Welcome to RPG Ranked, the channel where all your favorite RPGs are ranked.
What is up, Identity 5 fans? This is Brighton from RPG Ranked, and if you enjoy RPG content or Identity 5 content, please check out the channel, like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. That'd be so helpful. Before we get into this video, a special shout out to one of my best friends, Lana Del Real, for creating the amazing clips in the background of this video. Alright, we are going to get right into this tier list. Alright, starting off, we have the F tier. In last place, I'm sure you could have all guessed this, but we have Nightmare. Nightmare has almost nothing going for him. If a survivor just freaking, turns a corner, then Nightmare's attacks just do nothing anymore. His one dash ability, they can just run around a wall, and you'll never hit them. The one saving grace is his Raven ability, which lets you teleport to any cipher machine. But, other people can do that. Put down 2 Geisha butterflies, oh, you'll be there. Put down, who is it? Clerk can just see who is at what cipher machine. Mad Eyes can see who's at what cipher machine. The only good thing about Nightmare is that he can teleport to cipher machines, and there's nothing really else that's good about him. His chase and his camp are both garbage, so yeah, don't use this guy, whatever you do. He's the worst in the game. Moving from the F tier to the E tier, we first have Hell Ember. Hell Ember is not great. I put him in last place last time, I'm pretty sure, but I realized he's still better than Nightmare. He's still, decent. Still garbage, but, he's possible to use and actually get hits with. He is cool in his chase is terrible. He's slow as heck. The only way you can ever chase someone is if you've got them cornered and they're just jumping over a pallet over and over again, and if you're able to get a phantom or a puppet chasing them down on the other side to get a hit, even still, that's just one hit. There's not really any chance of actually doing anything there. Yeah, his chase is pretty bad. I like that he can teleport between puppets, and that's one thing. The puppets can see who's teleporting, so yeah, honestly, his teleport's probably even better than Nightmare, since you can teleport wherever you want. But yeah, so you have that teleporting ability. You have the ability to control puppets and phantoms, which can be good for camp and possibly for chase if you can get it really good, but it's just too hard to use him compared to other hunters that just have a lot more going for them and are a lot easier to use and to get good hits with. Alright, next we have Evil Reptilian, which I love playing as him, but he's not good at all. He jumps around, and it's kind of fun. You can, triple jump around the map and fly all over the place. Well, if you can even get triple jump, because you're never going to really beat people with this guy. Unless you have a perfect understanding of where you're jumping, which nobody really does. And even still, even if you had a perfect understanding of where you were jumping, he still wouldn't be as good as, Geisha. But, you have to jump, and basically the whole point is you crash down, right? And you're not going to hit crashing down. I'm sorry, but it's not going to happen unless you're insane, and it's just really hard to use. And yes, he can get around the map really fast, but there's no point of getting around the map really fast if there's no way you can actually kill people. So yeah. Alright, next we're going to move on to the D tier, and in last place on the D tier is the Ripper. He's not terrible. I mean, he's pretty terrible, but there's worse. His fog blades are kind of fun, but kind of like Nightmare. His biggest problem is that someone can just run around a wall over and over again, and it's going to be pretty hard for you to get hit by the fog blades. Chase is actually nice because sometimes, yeah, if you can really hit those fog blades, then the Ripper can be good. But if you don't hit every single fog blade, you're probably not even going to get a tie. You're probably going to lose. Yeah, his chase isn't too bad. It's kind of fast. Hidden and Mist makes him walk pretty fast. So that's what saves him from being in the E or F tier, is his movement speed. But yeah, you have to be insane at hitting the fog blades for him to even be, if you're perfect at hitting the fog blades, he's probably still C or B tier. And that is pretty sad. Alright, let's move on to Undead. Undead is cool. Like, his lightning attacks, his dashes are all cool, but his problem is his way of killing. You literally have to wait eons for this guy to even make one kill. Like, you literally will not kill anybody with this guy. I mean, you probably will, but you will never get a tie unless you're insane, because he's just pretty bad. Yes, his abilities are good, and that's what makes him different than all these other people. And if he just could rocket chair people, he would honestly be one of the better hunters in this game, but since he can't rocket chair people, he's kind of garbage. Alright, let's move on to the C tier. In last place on the C tier, we have Smiley Face. Smiley Face has some epic movement. He can dash, and he can put on different modifications to make his dash really good. And there's a lot of nuance and skill that can come with this ability. You can have good chase. You can never really have good camp with Smiley Face, though. And if you're really good at controlling his dash, he can be pretty good. But even still, the time it takes after you hit someone with the dash, they're already going to be like kind of far away, and you have to wait for another dash. If you perfectly use your modifications, you can do pretty dang good as Smiley Face, but overall, he's a lot harder to master than a lot of these other hunters, which is surprising because he seems very simple with just one attack. Alright, let's move on to Mad Eyes, which is, I put higher on my last list, but he isn't that great. He takes, like, the highest skill ceiling of any of the hunters, in my opinion, if you master him. But he can be taken down by an intelligent team of survivors who just gets rid of his whatever they're called, his control terminals or whatever. They just hack the terminals, then they can disable your attacking, and there's nothing you can do chase-wise or camp-wise unless you have your map controlling ability, right? So if you couldn't hack the consoles, Mad Eyes would be insane. Like A or S plus tier maybe. But since they can hack the consoles and it takes way too much to actually be able to get good as this guy, I cannot rate him any higher on this list. Alright, next we have Gamekeeper, my personal least favorite hunter to play as, but not the worst. He's not bad. He just isn't for me, but he isn't very good either. The hooks and traps. His hook can be pretty fun because you can grab onto something, propel you forward, and then grab onto a survivor, and then you can just get some good chase there. His camp is decent if you place a trap in the perfect place. He's one of the few people I can think of who can quickly double hit, but it takes a lot of skill to utilize the traps and the hook well. Yeah, when you have Thorny Hook, though, yes, you put him in a trap, Thorny Hook, and then you hit them, and it's pretty good. He's one of the only hunters who can terror shock from a distance, but he doesn't, like, he has a lot of cool stuff, but again, like, it's hard to hit traps, it's hard to do all that stuff. Like, the Breaking Wheels trap is better, and yeah, it's nothing. Like, the Gamekeeper isn't anything too good, but he's also not anything too bad. He's pretty mid. Definitely, like, a C-tier type character. Next, we have the Feaster, who could be really good if it wasn't for his terrible hitboxes on his tentacles. If the tentacles had a bit more range, and if they had better hitboxes, he could be one of, probably up a tier, but since he isn't really all that great, it takes a lot to chase with him. And camping can be pretty good, but a lot of times, people will just disable tentacles or juke it because they know that the hitboxes are flawed. And yeah, once you get into his last trait, it's pretty cool because you can just spam tentacles on people. But overall, with the hitboxes and not as good abilities as the next hunters on this list, there's not any reason to use the Feaster. Alright, Wu Chang is fun because they have two different forms, and they are very different, which is cool. The black form is better at, what am I saying? Well, the black form is better at hitting. They have a faster recovery time, but a shorter range and a slower speed. So, with camping, you probably want to be using the black form, and if you're chasing, you want to use the white form because it has a longer range and faster movement speed. So you get that cool balance there. You can also teleport with Umbrella, albeit it's a short range teleport. But you have some fun things here. Being able to switch your form depending on the circumstances is really helpful, but still Wu Chang is pretty mid. Alright, let's move on to the next character, Axe Boy. He has some good chase, but his camp is pretty lacking. He can get across the map really fast with his vines or wood or whatever, and he can get a nice speed boost if he collects one of his souls. You can also get some mid-range attacks in with his souls, and yes, speed and mid-range attacks make him a good chase character, but he's not quite as good at camp. If you want to coordinate hitting a soul and hitting at the same time, you could maybe do some camp, but usually a good survivor can avoid that and find a much better way to get out of that situation. Alright, moving on to B tier, we have Violinist, one of my favorite characters, but not one of the best. His demon notes are his biggest upside. He can make people decode at such a slow rate, it's insane, but his terrifying string music and his bending or whatever, like, it's really easy to avoid with the survivors, and as a weird hitbox, so it's kind of hard to actually get hits. And yeah, they don't have any like high damage abilities. It's mostly the demon notes, but those demon notes are really good, so that's why Violinist is in B tier. Next we have Hermit, not the newest hunter, but a recent addition, and the Hermit is very good if you know what you're doing, but is still not the best. Being able to damage multiple survivors at the same time, being able to like teleport to them, being able to split up damage across multiple survivors, being able to connect ciphers. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with the Hermit, but honestly, it's not all that amazing. It's still good, but it's nothing to write home about. Yeah, so. And then Photographer is one of those weird ones. I put him in B tier, which is right in the middle, because sometimes he'll be S+, and sometimes he'll be F. It just depends on who you're going up against, and where, if people are cipher rushing, and they're all at the same cipher, and then you go into photo realm, and then you beat them all up, it's an easy win. But if they're spread all over the map, it's really hard, and you don't really know what you're getting into. Like, there's not really a way to see the ciphers with the Photographer, so basically Photographer is like gambling, and I don't really like that, but it can be really good, and it can suck, so yeah. Alright, let's move on to A tier, which we have Disciple. Disciple is a fun hunter. I didn't really do Disciple justice last time. I was like, oh, it's my favorite hunter. I mean, my least favorite hunter. But I do like Disciple better than I did last time. She can use, with her swoop ability, she can send her cat toward survivors to inflict various effects, and you can intimidate a survivor to disable them from decoding, healing, or using their items, or you can enter the paralysis area and guarantee a 2-hit kill. That's probably the best part about Disciple. That is great for camping and chasing. You can also teleport survivors that the cat is clung to. So as long as you can aim your cat, you can do some epic things with it, and I can't really aim the cat because it just confuses me, but overall, Disciple is very good, and you should definitely choose her sometimes. Alright, let's move into the next A-tier survivor, and that is Naiad. Naiad has nice chase, nice camp, and I would say she's the first hunter on here who really has some sort of good map control, because you put that water down all over the place, and you can guarantee damage on someone anytime that they try to rescue a survivor, as long as you put enough water down, and as long as you can just effectively use that. And yeah, Naiad has good chase. One thing that is holding her back is if that dash attack she did damage on top of inflicting them with water, Naiad would be one of the best hunters in the game, like, no question. There are a lot of good things about the Naiad, but honestly, nothing too special that is better than the next hunters on this list, but it's still pretty good. Alright, next we have Breaking Wheel. I feel like he's fallen off a bit. Clerk has kind of gotten better than him as of late, but Breaking Wheel can still move around the map. Very insane. He's one of the hardest hunters because of just thinking about the spikes you've inflicted on people, trying to get that extra damage and stuff. However, if you know what you're doing, Breaking Wheel is almost as good as he used to be. Not quite as good. He's fallen a bit, but he is still very good. Alright, next on this list, we have the newest hunter, Night Watch. I think the Night Watch is going to be pretty good. With Night Watch's wind abilities, you are very great at chase. Especially, like, Night Watch specializes in pursuing survivors, and he can increase his vaulting and movement speed by 25%. That is obscene. Well, I think it's 24%, but close enough. He can control the wind and push survivors toward him. I think he has a dash attack, if I remember correctly. And yeah, basically you can manipulate the wind to manipulate the survivors and really just, I don't know, just make sure, like, it sounds like really good chase. And I don't think he's going to be the best camper necessarily, but with Tempest and Windwalk, yeah, he can go really fast. He can push people toward him, and yeah. Oh yeah, Windwalk Charge. Yeah, propel yourself forward. So you can pull people toward you, you can dash at people, and you have high movement speed and vaulting speed. I think this is going to be one of the better hunters in the game. Still not an S tier, but pretty high up there. Alright, next we have Wax Artist, who has great range, can do a lot of damage with the Molten Wax, and can stun people. As long as you know what you're doing, getting a bunch of shots off will make you one of the best hunters in the game as the Wax Artist. A lot of people put this guy really low, a lot of people put him even higher, and I thought this was a good place for him. Alright, last on A tier, we have the Soul Weaver. Soul Weaver is better than ever with high movement speed, being able to slow down survivors, being able to trap survivors, being able to kill survivors in 2 different ways, being able to have long range attacks. Soul Weaver has a lot of stuff, and though she can't do it as well as the S tier survivors, she has great camp and great chase. Alright, let's move on to S tier. In last place on S tier is Bloody Queen. Bloody Queen has some great abilities. She is a one-note character, but she has great camp and chase because if you manipulate her abilities correctly, you can get a quick 2-hit off. You can literally attack people from like across the map if you place your mirror in the right place, and if you're smart about what you're doing. Bloody Queen, like most of the S tier survivors, has a high skill ceiling. However, if you master Bloody Queen, you're going to be insane. There's not going to be many survivors that can out kite you. Even though, like, Geisha is a better survivor in my opinion, but she's more predictable, and Bloody Queen is very unpredictable, and that makes her a great character. Alright, next we have Sculptor, who can just manipulate everything, like horizontal, vertical, you can home in on enemies, you can do all this stuff, and you can just really throw them off, and then you can get a hit off them while they're stunned. Not stunned, but like pushed away. You can really use Sculptor and just guarantee hits. You can do a lot of damage just by whacking them with the statues even, and I think that Sculptor is one of the best in the game, just with all the manipulation map abilities that they have. And even if you're going up against like 3 survivors, a good Sculptor can get damage off on all of them. Alright, next is my personal favorite in the game, Bonbon, or whatever, Gar26, or whatever his name is. His bombs are awesome. You can hit really good camp, really good chase. Just, you can do a lot with Gar26, and he is very good. His biggest disadvantage is if people are really good at just getting right out of the range of the bombs. However, you have so many bombs to throw, and you can change the time on them. You can be really, really tactical with the bombs and the remote bomb. If you get a remote bomb and then quickly throw a normal bomb, get it off, knock someone out, like, it's great. Use Gar26. one of the best in the game. Alright, next in S tier, we have Geisha, my second favorite hunter in the game. And she's just insane. Chase is insane. The butterflies are awesome. Only downside is if people look at you, then you can't teleport to them. However, there is no way that the survivor can just look at you always. Like, legit, you'll be fine. One of the best chase in the game. Not the best camp, but who needs amazing camp when you can chase this well? Yeah, Geisha, her biggest downfall is her low camp and the fact that she has like short range attacks. Like her knife is really short range, but yeah, Geisha is just a very, very, very good chaser, and she is as good as always with her overpowered butterflies. Alright, in last place on S tier, we have Clerk. I don't really like the Clerk, however, I will not deny their power. You can do double hits, you can literally ignore pallets and just keep on chasing. You can ignore, yeah, it's crazy. Ignoring that, you can rewind ciphers so that they get undecoded. You can do like all sorts of stuff with Clerk. And yes, I feel like they have a high skill ceiling, but a lot of these other hunters do in S and S plus tier. And yeah, Clerk is just obscene. I did not rank them high enough last time just because I suck as the Clerk and I didn't realize just how powerful it was. But Clerk is one of the most meta hunters right now and is one of the best hunters in the game. Alright, and in last place, everyone could guess, it's Night Witch. Always, not Night Witch. What am I saying? Sorry, I was getting Night Watch and Dream Witch mixed up. I meant Dream Witch. You know what I meant. Dream Witch is as broken as ever and is in S plus tier. Dream Witch needs no introduction. She can do everything. Alright, thank you guys all for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell if you enjoyed this video. Please check out my other Identity V videos and the other RPG videos on this channel, and I hope to see you in the next video. The next video will be Identity V Survivors ranked when the next one comes out. And thanks again for Lana for providing the video footage of this video. Alright, have a great day, Identity 5 fans, and I'll see you in the next video.